distinguished guests here today. First item on the agenda is approve the minutes of the May 12, 2015 regular meeting.
Move the minutes, Mr. Chairman. Second.
A motion second. Any comments on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 2 on the agenda, receive and place on file drainage repairs. We do have one today. Drainage District number 34, Branch B, Clay Township, Section 24, old tile missing intake, a large hole in the tile line, turned in by Lloyd Stewart.
Move the drainage repairs, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
A motion is second on the drainage repairs. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 3 on the agenda, approve cigarette permit for Colville Stop and Shop effective July 1st, 2015.
I'll move item number 3, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
That motion is second. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 4 on the agenda, approve bond for crew construction for sewer and septic system installation.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve bond. Crew construction. Second.
Have a motion is second. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 5 on the agenda, receive and place on file manure management plan annual update for HLG LLC in Section 4, Dayton Township.
Chairman, I move item 5. Second, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion and a second. Any comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6 on the agenda, approve a request from the City of Moreland to abatement of interest and penalty in the amount of $345 against parcel number 09123820002. A tax sale deed was issued to the city December 5th, 2014.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve item number 6.
I'll second that motion.
A motion is second. Any comment on that?
This is part of the tax sale deed. The city did have an assessment against this property, and they have, I believe, taken title to it now.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 7 on the agenda, adopt resolution for financial support in the amount of $5,000 annually for 3 years payable to the Iowa Drainage District Association Litigation Fund for the legal defense of the Drainage District suit filed by Des Moines Water Works under the Clean Water Act.
Regrettably, I will move item number 7.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comment?
Yeah, it's sad that the city, or the counties are being sued over such.
Yes, that is bad. What we're doing here is we'll be giving the Iowa Drainage District Association $5,000 a year. It'll go into their attorney fund, their litigation fund, and then they've appointed a committee of 3 or 4 people on the committee to say how that money is going to be spent. The 3 counties have hired some attorneys now, and if and when it comes time that they need some help in the litigation, then that's when this money will be spent, and we'll have some say in how much we spend and where it goes and if it goes. So I think we've got signed agreements with the county, the IDDA board's got signed agreements with the 3 counties for that effect, so I think we need to help out, and we hope every county with drainage districts takes this and does it too, because it is going to cost millions of dollars to litigate this, and them 3 counties can't afford to do it on their own. So it's going to be us, the counties, and we hope to get some bigger players, Fertilizer Association, Grain Dealers Associations. There's going to be a lot of different players in this, I think, to litigate this. It's going to take 5-10 years probably to litigate, so it's not a good thing. So any other questions?
Where's this going to be funded?
I would think that we would use it out of your drainage portion of the road, like you do your dues for the membership for this association.
I think that's on appropriate.
I think so too. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 8 on the agenda, receive and authorize chair to sign agreement with McClure Engineering for engineering services for the Iowa Crossroads and Global Innovation Railroad Improvements Phase 2B, Webster County, Iowa.
So moved. Second.
A motion is second. Do you want to comment on that part?
What we have here is it is an actual contract with McClure Engineering to perform engineering services for a rail connection to be put in on the CN, southern edge of the Iowa's Crossroads Global Innovation. This portion
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 9 on the agenda, approve and authorize chair to sign utility permit from Alliant Energy to install underground electric service from 3960 Oak Avenue north, approximately 1,200 feet to new hog confinement at 3946 Oak Avenue in the northwest quarter of section 33, township 86 north, range 28 west, Dayton Township.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 9.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
A motion and a second. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 10 on the agenda. Approve resolution number 0-3 to revise Webster County 2015 5-year construction program, which advances project L-79162-73-94 on 300th Street, 1,100 feet east of Indiana Avenue over Drainage District number 5 from priority year FY 2017 to accomplishment year FY 2015, so that this project can be let June 2nd, 2015 and constructed thereafter.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve item 10.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
A motion second, any comments, Randy?
Just to remind you that, by law, we have all secondary departments have a 5-year program, consists of an accomplishment year and 4 priority years. And this particular project I left in FY 17, we were aware that it was slowly failing, has not completely failed yet, and I've been trying to replace other structures that I thought were higher priority. But recently, we had plans on the shelf and everything. That's how we knew we needed to do this eventually. And it turns out that due to circumstances, that one wall is shearing, and we have not had to close it yet, but we need to get it let and replaced. And so we need to advance it from 17 to the current fiscal year, so we can let it, and we'll probably, the money will be spent in FY 16. And we just juggle projects a little bit. This one will be done instead of another one, because this one is failing and will fail if we don't do something in the next 2 or 3 months.
Any comments, Randy? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 11 on the agenda, approve and authorize chair to sign contract with WH Co-op, which renews the contract terms for the additional year for furnishing diesel motor fuel to Webster County Secondary Road Department from July 1st, 2015 to June 30th, 2016.
So moved. Second.
A motion is second. Any comment on that, Randy?
Just that I want to make sure you understand that we had a formal letting last year, and their price was it's 9.5 cents. They call it a margin that they charge us to deliver to our underground storage tanks. They were $1,375 lower than the next vendor. And, we have 2 options. We can rebid it, or we can write in the contract. It did say, contract is for 1 year. Webster County has the option to renew on an annual basis for 2 additional 1-year periods. We're very satisfied with the service. The tank wagon haul operator for the WH Co-op is excellent. And we've never had any fuel issues with gelling or anything. They're always on top of it when the weather changes and what have you. I highly recommend we exercise the option to renew for 1 additional year.
Any questions for Randy? None, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 12 on the agenda, approve final plans for bridge replacement project BROS-094621-8J-94 on 160th Street over Soldier Creek, and authorized project to be let by Iowa DOT on August 18, 2015 instead of July 21st, 2015, due to delay in acquiring necessary right-of-way requirements.
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. Any comments on that, Randy?
Okay, I would like to, since I sent that agenda item to Carol, I learned that I thought the paperwork would be coming in, and we have to turn our final documents in 3 months before the letting. And this week is the 3 months for the August letting, And it says here, possession of all parcels and or access rights shall be acquired by the date the form is submitted. There's 4 property owners out there. We have acquired and paid for 3 of the 4. The 4th one, we have an email that we're in agreement. We don't have signed documents and haven't paid them yet. So, and then this has federal monies in, and then if we get audited and did something on order, we get hand slapped or fined or something along those lines. So I'm requesting you amend that motion from August 18th to September 15th. Now, once again, you signed this a few weeks ago, several weeks ago, you approved this for July. It's just that this one parcel has been difficult to get pinned down, but we do have an email that says they are in agreement. It's just a matter of getting the documents, and there was a minor change with somebody's name and the title and all that sort of thing. So we expect that to be done, well, probably ought to give it 2 weeks, because we're working with party in Des Moines.
Is this east of Rocky Park?
Yeah, that's the one on the north line of, it's on 160th north side of Harlem. So the best we can do to follow all the guidelines is have a September 15th letting. I would imagine the contract period will be late start of next year. However, if a contractor needs work and is successful, that contractor can start right after the documents are signed. And we did do that on 390th Street to down South Gallery. We were able to get a bridge done and it was completed by May 1. So,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend my motion so that reads September 15th, August 18th for the, is that okay? I'll second that.
Motion second. I have one question. Did we get Mr. Secor's concerns answered then, or is that what we take care of?
yeah, that's part of the process area. We got an agreement on all the terms and then access for Mr. Secor with the, we have one party has to drive across on this party's land because how the ownership lies, and that's being worked out. So we basically got that completed and not completely signed yet.
Any other questions, Rand? Vote on the amendment, all in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Amended motion. Vote on the amended motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. How did you vote?
Great.
Okay.
Could have restated the motion if you'd like. And the motions are very proper.
I'm sorry, fellas.
We have a public hearing at 10:30, so we'll move on to item 14. Keep Bob happy here. Approve first consideration of amendment 001.
No.
That's the hearings for.
Both those,
But you
we
can
can go
put
with
out
citizens'
citizens.
opportunity to address the board with items not on the agenda, we can go with that.
Jump
on it.
Is it legitimate?
That's why I said next.
Well, John would like to talk, but I would like to visit a little bit about the importance of the OHP park and how it pertains or how it's going to lay out eventually. Do you want to do that as we talk about the ordinance, or do you want to talk about it now?
Here's you're doing it now.
Are you requesting the board
No,
or something that's not on the
No,
agenda?
John, you know, just talked about insurance, let him talk about insurance, and if there are other people want to talk, then we can catch them.
Maybe somebody's gonna come at 10:30 for the public hearing.
Well, they could.
And they'll miss out on
Mr.
the
Pinkball, the floor is yours.
Are we getting okay?
Yeah.
Please, Joe. Thanks for your time. I gave everybody a handout, if you want to pull that up, and it's regarding the work comp insurance for the county. So first of all, I just really want to commend everybody. Bob and I discussed this a lot, but it's really important, the safety committee that is put together, and I don't know how many are here on the safety committee, but it's, and I joined that committee through Amy, and appreciate that. But it's made it's a huge difference, because it helps everybody's budgets. I know Jim Stubbs can see that with his, because it's all based on premiums and all based on claims. So when you look over this report, I just wanted to give you first one's that 5-year history, and if you look about halfway down the page, you'll see earned premium. back in 2010, we were running about 225,000, and then we had some severe claims come up, and our premium was running 416,000. Went down to 332. Last year was 125,000 again, and this year it'll be about 136. Just, it varies because of payroll numbers, but, and then if you look at the very last two lines there, loss ratio numbers. So you look back 5 years ago, we were only 8%, which is really unheard of in the work comp business today. Usually work comp is a lot of times just very high loss ratio situation. We went from 8, went to 45%, down to 3%, which is remarkable there. 36%, and then we've had a few claims that jump back up to 81%. So that 81 might not catch us this year, but it could next year get our premiums going back up again, because it's always about a 3-year history that they're looking at. So, and then the very bottom number, the experience mod factors. Those are set by the NCCI, which is the National Work Comp company or group that looks at your loss ratio. They look at your claims, they look at projected claims just by history, and then they set your mod, which is your, if you're at a base rate, it's 1.0. That just means there's no credits, there's no debits or surcharge or anything. And ours was running 5 years ago 1.1, jumped up to 128, 123, and then it dropped a little to 90.96, and then last year was 0.78. This year, for 2015 to 16, we're 0.84. So it bumped up a little probably because of those claims in there, but still that really helped us, because if you're, now if you kind of go back to those other 2 pages, the last page will give you the premium numbers for the breakouts that I put together for the billings. And if you kind of look over on the right-hand side, halfway down, our pure premium is about 316,000, but by the time we put all the discounts in, the mod factor in, IMWCA gives you about 36% credit. So that dropped our premium down to 170,000. And then because of good experience, there's a bonus that they gave of about 18%, so that dropped it down to 131. So, but anyway, I just commend you. If we've got to really keep our employees thinking about safety. I think that's a huge issue today. And we've had a few claims here lately that, you know, things like not having safety glasses on, or lifting things that are too heavy, things like that. So hopefully the safety committee just kind of keeps, you know, pushing and pushing on that. I think they meet every other month, as I understand. So we appreciate that. It really helps for you, because instead of a $400,000 premium, we're, you know, looking at 136. That's a lot of dollars for budgets. So for each department. Any questions anybody have? If you do, you can always email me or call anytime. So that's all I had there. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
John, one good example, you know I was going to say something. One good example of not only the safety committee as it pertains to workers' compensation, but general liability as well, is this group ordered and or approved quote last week, I believe it was, to redo the entryway for the bank building both in the front and back.
Yes.
Because of the nature of that covering, it's impossible for us to make it so it was safe. So that's being redone, or has been redone. I think it's being redone. But not only is it people going in and out of their customers, but also our employees, if they slip and fall, that's a workman's compensation loss.
And we've had
that kind of thing pays off over a period of time.
Yeah, we've had 2 or 3, you know, somebody falling and they break a hip, or they're off work, and all of a sudden you'll have $30,000, $40,000 claims just like that, pretty quick. So
that's just one example of the safety committee and their work,
Yeah.
passing it on to us and us going ahead.
Glad to hear about that, because I think that's been ongoing for quite a while, so I'm glad everybody approved that, so. Okay, thank you very much.
Any other citizens?
Wow.
We have 9 minutes to listen.
Yeah, I can take care of that.
I'm
So-
sure you can.
Well, as you're all aware, and John's here too, so the BizBox ICAP is covering, actually most of our cost on the BizBox. Our initial cost is about $29,000 altogether, which covers some things that insurance wasn't a result of the loss anyway.
What's a BizBox?
It is a visitation, video visitation for the jail. It creates a lot safer environment. While we don't have the BizBox, we have to bring people down the hallways and to go to visitation of the one that is working, because it took out about 8 of them. So we have to do that. Well, to do that, it takes manpower, plus we have to do history and see who gets along with who, because we can't have certain people meeting in the hallway. It creates problems. So anyway, that'll be taken care of. I know there's some issues about how it was wired to begin with. We're gonna add some surge protection to that, probably not quite to the extent maybe that it was recommended when Clark and I went with the consultant, but we're gonna add some. He had some different ideas, but that'll be added. I think, as I explained to Merrill and Clark earlier this morning, I think we were very fortunate that we didn't have this happen before because of the generator, because those are not on 24 hours. They're only on when visitation is in effect. And we've been on emergency power before, but fortunately it just wasn't when the generator decided to kick on or off because of that. Any questions on that one? And I think I explained, they're going to pay actual cash value on that, so you'll get one check, and then once Jim gives me the final invoice, we'll get the balance, which is about 8,700, 8,767, 50. So when we
So
they pay out about 25,000 out of that company, so which is good. Yeah, it's real good. The other thing that I'll mention, Carrie had helped with this. Alice training's coming up. It's on your calendars, the 26th. That'll be the first installment of the training through grant money through Carrie in the hospital. We sent 2 deputies to this training to be the trainer, and that'll take place in there in the courthouse. Be a little hands-on and some classroom both. Like to see as many people as we can get through it. We'll have to do it in phases because we aren't going to shut the courthouse down to do it, obviously. So we'll do it in phases and try to get as many people through as we can, which would kind of go on the safety aspect of it. So that will be coming up. I think that's it. Can't think of anything else. Other than Supervisor Campbell and I had a heck of a Friday last Friday, so, along with Danny Plotz and Craig Barker. So we need to show our support for the armed forces that they gave us after the day. Marquez video. Other than that, I think that covers it, doesn't it? All right.
I wanted to thank the sheriff for that Alice training, and he's also tomorrow having a Homeland Security man come into the courthouse or all our buildings, and
All the buildings, mainly the courthouse, is from Homeland Security and the Secret Service, and he does assessments for free. I'm sure that most of you received the email from the judicial branch about what they want in the courthouses, which is pie in the sky, really. If you read that whole email, you notice that everybody that was involved in deciding what they want is nobody that's going to pay for what they want. So I'm sure you noticed that.
But yeah, I do want to point to the public that I think we are being proactive, and the sheriff specifically is being proactive with security in our buildings. And these 2 things are a good step that way. Gary, with her building over there, is important. So
chickens in the dump park?
Very good. You're on the board now.
We were recently down in Des Moines discussing with the Attorney General's office and the DNR about the landfill referral case. The chickens did pick them up, and at this point, no, we are not. They're hiring outside companies to come in and take care of them at this time. Not to say that something could change down the road, but at this time, no. Along with what Sheriff Stubbs said, I want to show some gratitude and support to the Employer Supportive Guard and Reserve Group. Last Friday, they took a group of us from the Fort Dodge Airport to Fort McCoy. We met with some of our current employees that are in the Guard and Reserves and had lunch with them. Went out in the field and watched them do what they trained for. Sheriff Stubbs was lined up, geared up, dressed up, ready to fire the 105 howitzer, and then something changed, so we had to go. But I would really like to show support and gratitude to them. They put together a great trip, and it was a once-in-a-lifetime event, definitely. June 2nd, I believe, is the ribbon cutting, is that correct? Or, I'm sorry, the 28th. May 28th is the ribbon cutting for the Public Health Office. I encourage everybody to come over, take a tour, see what they've done, and see what they actually do over there. That'll be at 3:30, so please stop over. And last night, all the supervisors attended the Pilot Mound the Joint Drainage District meeting, 47-225 of Boone in Webster County. We did meet in Pilot Mound. This is a project that was started, I believe, in 2008 or 9, and it has taken a long time to come to fruition, and we are going to get that ditch cleaned out to help the residents of the southern part of Webster. We appreciate their patience and all the hard work that went into this project, and appreciate everybody attending last night.
I've got about 1 minute, actually 2 minutes, I guess, till 10:30. On Thursday, a group of approximately 40 professors and associate professors will be coming from the University of Iowa to visit Fort Dodge. They picked Fort Dodge among 3 Western Iowa communities to work with us for developing a variety of things such as riverfront area, and there are 4 separate subjects. And so we'll be meeting with them from about 11:30 until 4 o'clock with the idea of them hearing what we have to say or our wishes. They're going to plug in their facility and their expertise to try to help us with those. So it'll be interesting to see what transpires. Nothing ventured, nothing gained as far as we're concerned. We'll be interested to see what goes on. So again, that's coming up on Thursday.
What I'll do is 10:30 by the phone, that possible still. So it's 10:30, I'll open up the public hearing for the first consideration of amendment 001 to ordinance number 051, an ordinance regulating the operation of multi-lane vehicles and off-road vehicles in Webster County. They got any questions? Talk about the off-road vehicles?
I received no written comments or objections.
Anybody from the board have any comments on it?
Some overall comments, but not on necessarily on this ordinance.
Anything from the sheriff?
Sheriff, just fine.
No,
there it is.
I think this was discussed at the last meeting, and I have not received any complaints, our office has not, and as stated before, Ryan has not received anything. I don't think anything's changed since last week for you either. At the county attorney's office are complaints. There have been some people charged with this ordinance, but it's unrelated in effect to this ordinance because they have a laundry list of things they're violating besides this ordinance. We have people that ride illegally. If we have this ordinance or don't have this ordinance, we are still going to have those people that ride illegally, and that's the ones that we try to get. And Ryan, I think, has prosecuted 1 or has 2 on the books. So I don't see the wording that we changed in this to be a major factor in the ordinance.
I received one complaint from a landowner, it's a landowner that's had the same problem over and over and over again, and it's not going to cease regardless of what happens with the OSP park. The fact of the matter is, these folks along the river decide to, and it's motorcycles as well, and I empathize with them, but I'm not sure that there's anything that can be done except to try to apprehend these individuals that are riding illegally. If they've been there before, they're going to be there again regardless.
Yes.
I've had a lot of questions lately about these ordinances and one thing and another, and what Jim said. They don't know where to get the information or what it's all about. So where would you get the information about this new ordinance and all the other things that go with it?
The copy of the ordinance is in the recorder's office.
That's what I thought.
Well, and a
That's what I
copy
thought.
of the full text of the ordinance plus the amendment is on file in the auditor's office.
Okay.
Public notice was published on May 8th, letting them know that, and that they have the opportunity to submit any objections or comments.
Yeah, well, there's no objections. I mean, these are people who are.
But if you're interested, it's also available on the amendment isn't at this point because it's not filed, but the original notice is available on the county website.
Okay.
And I just suggest the recorder again, because to use this ordinance, you have to be licensed through the recorder's office. So
That's what I told them, but I just wasn't quite sure if that was.
I don't want to create more work for just people coming up, but that's
We have the ordinance sitting right there. We have a sample plate available for people to see how the plate needs to have the letters and numbers, and then the ordinance sits right there, and we oftentimes show them that as well, so.
Thank you.
I think what we're trying to accomplish here is we have the largest OHV park in the Midwest, and we're just trying to make Webster County accommodate the people that are coming here from other counties, other states, make it easier for them to get around if they want to go get some gas in Colville, or maybe ride in Lehigh on the gravel road, or ride through, just make it easier for them, make it a better weekend for them when they get here, make everything. I would hope that we could work with the city and have them pass an ordinance to this effect, so we could actually ride in some places in the city too. This is kind of the first step in getting Webster County friendlier, and we'll hopefully work with the cities. I think Claire's passed an ordinance already,
I believe they're
adopting ours. So some of the small towns are adopting it too, so they can get some of the OHVs in their cities too, so. Any other questions on the public hearing? Now I'll close the public hearing. Item number 14 on the agenda is approve the first consideration of amendment 001 to ordinance 051, an ordinance regulating the operation of all-terrain vehicles and off-road vehicles in Webster County, Iowa.
Mr. Chairman, I move the ordinance.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Do we want to waive that second and third?
You have no comments at this point.
You can.
Your next one, if you don't want to waive it, there's no public notice on that one, just it would be scheduled for next week. If you waive it, then we'll go to third consideration and we'll do public notice for that. So if you want to waive it, we'll need to also set the final consideration. So it's as you wish.
So that's what I'll move.
Wait a second. I think we're not in a hurry to do this, I don't think. So you want to, or do you want to?
But we might as well waive the second, there's no objections.
Yeah.
Let's waive the second and make the final next week.
No, I have to do notice for that one, so you're gonna have to go wait. I figured, yeah.
So we have a motion to,
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
I got it. Okay, the second one, as long as we
June
get it.
2nd for the final consideration.
have a motion ready in a second.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion in a second, any comments?
At 10:30?
And now in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Board of Supervisors Committee reports. You get through most of those. Marilyn, you guys?
knows, but it can be a huge, huge draw down the road a ways. But realize that there are going to be some impositions along the way. For example, you got a four-wheeler in front of you over by Smithway, and you've got to be careful that you don't run the individual over as they're coming into town eventually. But on the other hand, it creates hotel and motel tax increases, which ultimately down the road can bode well for us if we decided to put some kind of a cultural center in, a rec center or a performing arts center or something like that. Those folks would help support that. Retail sales would increase, shopping increases, creates more jobs, creates more people coming to town to help us in that way as well. And then finally, there are property tax increases that can come along as this area is out there developed. I'm told this can be a huge, huge thing for the Midwest and the Midwest draw. A long time ago, I remember the planning department said, why, we can have 300,000 people out there. Well, thus far, that hasn't come to pass. On the other hand, if you go out there and look when it's open, there's quite a few that are starting to come, and ultimately this, I think, can develop into a huge, huge thing for us. But we're gonna have to realize that there are gives and takes along the way. So a few people here and there may fuss, but ultimately the legal riders are gonna be around, and hopefully we got a way of corralling them, but they're always gonna be law breakers, I'm sorry to say. But I'm excited about the fact that ultimately this can be a super thing for us. Oh, I know. All right.
I like to hear it on that. I was down at Pickwood Motorsports in Des Moines a couple of weeks ago talking to them. They sponsored the event out at the sports park out here and talking about the OHV park, and they said, you guys don't realize what a gem you have out there. He says, anything I can do to help you promote that park, he says, I will do anything because our people don't have a place to ride down here in Des Moines. Every OHV I sell, I recommend them going to Fort Hatch. And that's coming from the big city of Des Moines. So, you know, I think we're all spoiled up here. We've all rode out there illegally for the last 40 years or 50, you know, and, you know, we have 4 Supercross racers from Fort Dodge, Iowa. There isn't a state. California don't have 4 Supercross riders. We have 4 Supercross riders nationally ranked because they learned how to ride out there in the old forest. Well, that's amazing. So yeah, I think we have a jewel out here. We don't realize what we have because we're kind of spoiled. But I think the surrounding areas do, and they will come when we build it. When we built it, I think it's going to just get bigger and bigger. So, Clark, you got anything for the committee reports? Your motion.
One other thing, I wanted to thank Randy for updating us this morning on the secondary gravel roads, the progress that is being made on those roads and the amount of rock and blading that is getting done. Appreciate all the hard work, and we'll keep getting updates on that. If there are concerns on a specific road or spot